we're not going to spend too much time on that. So what I want to move on to is classifications of hamstring injury. And I'm sure most people are aware of the classic grade 1, 2 and 3 hammy injury, but recently there's been a bit of a change in movement to defining hamstring injuries. If you work in professional football, most hamstring strain injuries, they do get MRI'd, certainly at the higher levels of the Football League, which means that we can define them a little bit better. So grade 1, 2 and 3 isn't really cutting it for hammies and soft tissue injuries in general. Yes, you can still grade your ligaments and stuff like that using your 1, 2 and 3s, and that may help with your prognosis and stuff for the player kind of education. But we've moved on. Grade 1, 2 and 3 was produced in 1966, and since then there's been plenty of others who have tried to implement this grading system using MRIs. So Cohen produced this document, which was the first I'm aware of to use MRI and the percentage of muscle damage caused to suggest the grading. In July 2012, Otto Chan further developed this to incorporate proximal MTJ, the muscle, and the distal MTJ, further derivatives for the intramuscular tendon, fascial, myotendinous. Quite complicated when I've had a look at it. And then Muller-Wohlfahrt in 2013 produced this document, again using MRI or ultrasound actually, and he had 8 different subtypes of injuries. So functional injuries defined as fatigue-induced or DOMS. He had neurological disorders of the spine or the muscle, and then he had partial, moderate and full ruptures, and also contusions and lacerations. Even though this paper was produced in 2013, I've got to admit I've never actually used it as a physio. For me, the variance is too high, and when you look at the actual categories to define the injury, they're quite subjective, despite using an objective marker of the MRI. So what we've been using, or certainly what I've been used to using the last couple of years, is this paper, the British Athletics Muscle Injury Classification by Pollock. And basically this new grading system uses MRI only, has clear objective findings on the MRI to differentiate between the different injuries. So you can see in this picture that we have grade 0 to 4, so you can see normal, then you have A, B and C, and the letters correspond with the location of the injury, and the number preceding that would be the severity of it. So grade 1 would be a small injury, so no more than 10% into the muscle with a length of less than 5 centimetres. Grade 2 measure between 10 and 50% of the CSA of that muscle and can extend between 5 and 15 centimetres with actual fibre disruption of less than 5 centimetres. Grade 3 injuries are extensive injuries to the muscle with high signal change of over 50% of the muscle and greater than 15 centimetres in length with disruption of more than 5 centimetres. And grade 4 injuries are complete ruptures. So once you know the grading of the muscle, you can then define where the muscle is, as this may aid with the prognosis. And when I say may aid with prognosis, I'm talking if you have longitudinal data. So if you're able to collect 10, 15, 20 hamstring MRI reports, and you can look back retrospectively at how long the 1As, the 1Bs, the 1Cs, stuff like that, it may help educate the patient, the coaches, as to how long that player is going to be out. So the letter A, that'd be within the myofascia. B would be muscular tendinous, and C is injury to the intramuscular tendon. So that's not just hammies, that's calves, thighs. You can use that system with. So the intramuscular tendon is where the tendon extends to within the muscle after the MTJ, and these injuries have a much longer prognosis due to the slow rate of healing in tendons. So that's why it's quite important to always recognise a grade 2 or 3C injury. Okay, so now we're all aware of the different types of injuries. When you hear